Hi team, welcome back to our Introduction to Canadian History Anchor Fact series of printables and mini lessons. So when was Canada discovered? The discovery of America, as it's known, is an argument without end. It used to be fairly obvious that in 1492, when Christopher Columbus discovered something he did not know was there, and that the people who were living there did not know about in relation to the rest of the world either, that this was the discovery of America. Canadians have a different take on the question. Most Canadians would probably recall the story of Giovanni Caboto instead. Giovanni Caboto, or John Cabot as he is known to English speakers, was another Italian explorer selling his services to the kings of Europe, just like Columbus. When Columbus returned from his voyage in 1492, everybody in Europe was excited and anxious. What exactly was this new world that Columbus had found? Of course, nobody really knew. So other kings began to send their explorers. And in 1497, or about then, because things were kept very secret, John Cabot crossed the North Atlantic Ocean on behalf of Henry VII of England. What exactly he found, no one really knows either. Land, we assume, at least Newfoundland, and perhaps even Nova Scotia, and what Americans called New England. This was the second of the great discoveries of America following Columbus. So we're going to talk about the discovery of North America, we can say, as discovered by Columbus in 1492 and Cabot in 1497. As far as history goes, that's probably the right way to summarize the key moments. Of course, Canadians will also know that people from Europe had already been to the Americas. We know this thanks to archaeology, another form of research into the past that often helps historians. Archaeologists discovered that around the year 1000, Leif Erikson, the Viking, made his way to Newfoundland as well. The Vikings called it Vinland, which was a form of advertising. They called the ice-covered island nearby Greenland, except that it isn't very green. And they called Newfoundland Vinland, which means the land of vines or of berries. So the idea was there was wild fruit. It was a fertile land. That was the sales pitch. Only nobody else came. Of course, the Vikings fought the native people of Canada when they arrived. There is no story of people from different places in the world meeting and not fighting. The Vikings decided America was more trouble than it was worth and never came back. Whatever stories were told, the memory of the Viking voyages to Greenland and Iceland and Canada were lost to time. By the time Christopher Columbus presented his idea for crossing the Atlantic to get to China, it was a new idea. And he certainly did not know that America, or North America, was there. He had to bump into it and start to unravel what was the puzzle of the New World. Because of Columbus and Cabot, and later French explorers who continued the search, not for North America, but for a way around it to get to Asia, more and more of the Americas were discovered. And soon, the French would plant their flag in Quebec, beginning the first colony that would eventually become Canada. That's our story next time. See you then.